One Piece chapter 1010. Now this might be the most hyped up chapter of all time just because of the individual involved, and I think this chapter is one that has been theorized since the early stages of One Piece, all the way back to Whiskey Peak with Zoro and Luffy having that moment, to the events of like Sabaody, in which some of the supernovas view Zoro as being very captain-like. And ever since then, we've had so many foreshadowing that alluded to this, as well as parallels to individuals like Rayleigh and Zoro's goal of wanting to become the strongest swordsman, which could also be taken as the king of swordsmen. And a lot of people, myself included, have made videos talking about this for a very long time. And seeing it confirmed here is honestly just amazing. A moment that not even just Zoro fans were waiting for, but I think a large portion of the One Piece community as well. And the way it was revealed definitely lived up to the other King's Haki reveals we've seen in the series. From Ace in the flashback to Luffy in Marineford, there seems to be a very consistent theme around King's Haki awakening, which I will talk about later in this video. And we also got a glimpse of the potential of Conqueror's Haki other than the use that we've seen time and time again over the course of the story. And I think this is setting up for Luffy's next form, as he will be seemingly fighting Kaido in a 1v1. So Luffy's development is going to be very interesting as well. But before we dive into this chapter, I would appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video and subscribe for more. But let's start from the beginning. Now we start off with the continuation of Big Mom falling from the rooftop due to the amazingly constructed team effort of Kid, Zoro, Law, and Killer. Now one of the questions I've always had about the splitting up of the Yonko, and something that I've always addressed in my previous chapter reviews, was that even though they were pulling them apart, it's only a matter of time before they rejoin. So the real question was, how are they going to keep them from coming together? Now even though we had Zoro take care of Prometheus, I think it was only a matter of time before Kaido focused his attention on Zoro, to which he did. And this resulted in Prometheus reforming his body in order to go save Big Mom. And as a lot of people thought, this was only possible because Luffy had been knocked out prior by Kaido's Ragnarok attack. But again, not for long. Now at this point in time, Zoro is massively exhausted and injured, which makes a lot of sense because he literally took on a combined attack from both Big Mom and Kaido. So it's only natural to say that he was reaching his limit, and even Law takes notice of this. Now as Kaido was about to attack Zoro, Law comes in with a shambles to then use an injection shot on Kaido's neck, which had an effect. Kaido's bleeding, but not enough. And interestingly, we come to see a new ability from Law called the Curtain, which I'm guessing serves as defense, and he was able to take a hit from Kaido with minimal damage. Again, it goes to show that Law has a lot of skill sets that we haven't seen yet. And I feel like Law is honestly just waiting for a moment to unleash one of his strongest attacks, an attack that we don't know about yet. We know that he has the immortality surgery, but I think it would also make sense if there was some sort of counteractive skill to that. So there's one that grants limitless life, and there could be another that could have the ability to take that limitless life away. At least that's how I see it. This battle is getting tougher and tougher every second, which pushes the supernovas to the limits, which in return requires them to evolve as a fighter, which also ties into haki blooming in the extreme conditions of battle. So I think it's natural that we see things that the supernovas weren't capable of beforehand. Now, initially, I was thinking all 5 of the supernovas were going to focus on Kaido, but going back to my earlier point here, Big Mom making a quick return was also very plausible as well. So with Big Mom and Kaido separated for the time being, this led Kid and Killer to focus on dealing with Big Mom, while Zoro and Law focused on Kaido. Luffy at this point in time was unconscious. Now we move on to Big Mom having a conversation with Prometheus. Now even though a lot of us assumed that they should be very close to Wano, it seems like they aren't even in land yet. Even though we saw something resembling the White Tall Mountain in Hakubai, or one of those regions that had that huge mountain. But I guess from that perspective, the mountain was still very far away. But interesting stuff here for sure. But it definitely tells us that we're not exactly close to Wano yet. Now, towards the end of the page, we come to see Prometheus asking Big Mom for a favor. We're not sure what that favor was, but a few panels later, Kid and Killer notices that the clouds are starting to come together. Now, we have to remember that Zeus is still trapped in Kid's metal box. So this isn't something caused by Zeus. So the only logical outcome is that Big Mom could be creating a new Thundercloud homie. And I think it makes a lot of sense given the context of the previous panel, in which Big Mom and Prometheus regard Zeus as someone that holds them back. And this has been the case ever since Whole Cake Island, in which Zeus is always the homie that gets dealt with pretty quick. And so I think what Prometheus told Big Mom was for her to create a new and more powerful thundercloud that isn't incompetent like Zeus. So this is most likely going to be a new power up for Big Mom, and this could possibly tie into Nami obtaining Zeus to defeat Oti and Page 1. Zeus could be something Nami permanently obtains from Big Mom if she does indeed create this new cloud homie. But I'm definitely looking forward to how Kid and Killer are going to fight her, and judging from how things are looking, this may be a battle that takes place in the air. We know Kid has that kind of versatility with his Devil Fruit abilities, and we also know Killer seems to be the very agile type of fighter. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. Now moving back onto Law and Zoro versus Kaido. Now with the defeat of Luffy and Zoro having to say his captain on the floor and the situation being as dire as it can possibly be, I think this led him to awaken his first use of Conqueror's haki. And Zoro even tells Law that what he's about to use is everything that he can throw. And I think this has been very consistent with most King's Haki awakening in the series, in which a user is usually placed in a situation that is very extreme, and because of that extremity, it releases the user's latent ability. When Ace was about to die, Luffy used Conquerors. When Luffy was about to get hurt, Ace awakened Conquerors. And when Doflamingo was being traumatized by the people of that country, he also awakened Conqueror's haki. Now, I'll say this right now. I do not think that this is advanced Conqueror's haki. However, this is a level above the usual application that we've seen so far. I still think that advanced Conqueror's haki is something Oda is keeping for Shanks. However, I do think that Luffy will show us a glimpse of what advanced Conquerors is capable of with his new form, because that is definitely coming. Just like how Armament haki has several different applications, Conquerors will most likely follow that same scheme. I don't think that this is all there is to Conqueror's haki, but it is very interesting because it seems to be used as an amplification to Armament haki. So could this be used as an amplification to Observation as well? Things like the Voice of All Things could be a combination of both Conqueror's haki and Observation haki combined into one new ability. So that is very interesting for sure. I think Conqueror's haki is definitely opening up new abilities that could be explained, like the Breath of All Things, the Voice of All Things could be a form of Conqueror's haki or combination of two types of haki. Now Zoro uses Ashura, a form that hasn't been shown in over a decade plus, so seeing it here again was definitely hype, and we get to see a new technique called the Farce of the Dead, in which he was able to cut Kaido deep enough for it to leave a scar. And this is where Kaido basically confirms Zoro as a Conqueror's haki user. And just seeing Zoro put in everything that he has and still acknowledging that the person laying on the floor right now is his captain shows how much trust he has in Luffy. It's almost as if he knew Luffy was going to get back up. And it's funny because Zoro himself is not aware that he's able to use this form of Conqueror's haki, or that he even has the basic form of Conqueror's haki at all, right? So this is something that he himself was not aware of. And I think this is the case for a lot of Conqueror's haki users, where they have to go through some sort of awakening to realize that they are Conqueror's haki users, because it's a very dormant ability. Now, I do also think that Ashura might be related to Conqueror's haki as well, and I've made a video talking about how the true advanced levels of Conquerors would result into something that is akin to Ashura, and I will be making a new video talking more about this, because I think Ashura is very interesting, and it's something that we haven't seen from any other character in the series, as well as Diablo Jambe, but that's a topic for a different video. Now, after taking on the attack, Kaido proceeds to hit Law and Zoro with the same Conqueror's haki armament-like attack, which knocks out Zoro. And with that, we come to see the return of Luffy, in which he comes to understand how this form of King's haki works, and coupled in with his haki blooming at this point in time, this gave Luffy a newfound power. In combination with his advanced Ryo, and as well as the cladding of his fist with Conqueror's haki, Luffy is able to do significant damage to Kaido. It's a lot different than what we saw with the Red Rock, because Luffy isn't even touching Kaido at this point to make contact. And this should remind us to the clash we saw between Whitebeard and Roger, whereas their weapons weren't even touching. Luffy finally understands how it could be used both in offense and defense, as he was even having problems using the advanced levels of Ryo in the initial stage of the fight. And so because of his haki blooming, he has finally reached a point where he truly understands where he was messing up. And also this gave him the new ability to be able to clad his fists in Conquerors as well as Ryo. So a combination of both Armament and Conquerors is what seems to be happening here. I'm actually glad that we're seeing more of Conquerors conqueror's haki here. I mean, it only took us 500 plus chapters to learn about a new application of it. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the most advanced form of ornaments of conquerors, because I feel like Oda has to keep something special for Shanks as to not ruin some of the hype around him. Now, I think it's safe to say that we can definitely see a vision as to how Kaido will be defeated, but we also shouldn't forget that Kaido also possesses the same power, and so it's not exactly going to be an easy journey for Luffy. If anything, from what we know about Luffy's initial power-ups is that they tend to be very inefficient and usually ends up taking his lifespan in some way, shape, or form. And so while I do see Luffy getting a new form, it's probably going to be something that almost kills him, which would also tie into Hawkins' prediction about someone having a 1% chance of living. That person will most likely be Luffy, but Luffy always overcomes the odds. But I am really excited to where this is going on both Luffy's side of things and also Kid. Because from what it looks like, Kid is going to take on Big Mom, and I think Killer in some way, shape, or form is going to get defeated out of the fight, just like how Zoro got defeated with Kaido, and it's going to be Big Mom versus Kid and Luffy versus Kaido, because Luffy doesn't seem to need much help after obtaining this new power. Now, I'm not sure if Law is going to help Kid with Big Mom, even though Kid told him that he was going to take care of Big Mom, so it's kind of weird to say with Law as to where he's going to go next, because Big Mom and Kaido seems to be preoccupied with both captains, and I doubt they would want anyone else to interfere. So Law is kind of in that strange middle position, so he might head back downstairs to clear a lot of the lower battles, but apart from that, I'm not really sure. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Amazing chapter. Now, there is a break next week, so it's going to be a long break because this is a very defining moment for Luffy, but I will definitely try and get some videos out talking more about this conqueror's haki, right? But comment down below what you guys think. I would like to hear your thoughts on the chapter. I would appreciate it if you drop a like on this video and subscribe for more One Piece content. It is Pharaoh, guys, and I will see you folks later. Peace.